Hello everyone. In our today's video, I am going to create a pod in Kubernetes using YAML file. So I am going to run an application using Docker container image from my Docker Hub repository. And I will run the pod, and to expose the application into internet, I am going to use a load balancer service from Kubernetes using YAML file. So let's go ahead and create my pod.yml. For pod creation, these are the mandatory fields: API version, the version of pod or the Kubernetes objects, and the type of Kubernetes object like pod or deployment or service or replica sets, cron jobs, etc. And metadata will have two major fields called name and labels. Labels is mandatory for pod creation, whereas it is optional for the other services like uh, deployment service, cron jobs, etc. Under labels, we have to give app. The final one is specifications of the pod. The specifications of the pod are containers. Here the name of the container, my app container, and I'm giving the image. The image I want to use it is from the Docker Hub. My app is to version 1. In the ports, under ports, we are giving the container running port, which is 80. Now this is the file for creation of pod in Kubernetes. Let's go ahead and save it. Before running these commands or creating the pod, let's check if there are any pods in our namespace. To check the list of pods, the command is kubectl get pods. So there are no pods running in our namespace. So let's go ahead and create the pod. The command to create a pod is kubectl create or apply. We can give either apply or command -f space. We are giving the pod file name, YAML file name. If there are any errors, it will throw an error. If not, a pod will get created. Pod naming my app has been created. Let's go ahead and get the list of pods. kubectl get pods. See, now our application is running in the pod my app, and it has started 17 seconds ago. Now, how can we expose this application into internet? For that purpose, we are going to create a load balancer service in the Kubernetes. So let's go ahead and create load balancer service using YAML file. LoadBalancer.yml, and again let's start with the API version of the load balancer, and the kind is it's a service, and metadata. It includes name and labels. As I mentioned before, labels is not mandatory for the other service. It's an optional info. So I'm only giving the load balancer name here, my app hyphen load balancer service, and then I'm giving the specifications. First, the type. It's a load balancer type, and then I'm giving the selector. Selector is used to connect to the pod, like the backend of the load balancer. The backend pool of the load balancer will be mentioned here. Here we will give the name of the application. What's the name of this application? Like the backend will be, we have to give the name of the pod, that's labels, copy it and give it here, and then we have to mention the ports. Name of the port is HTTP and port is 80. Here this is the service port. Now we are giving the target port, like where the container should run, in what port the container should run. I'm giving the 80. Let's save it and go ahead and create the Kubernetes service load balancer. Before proceeding with the creation, let's check the services available using kubectl get services. SVC is the shortcut for services. There is only one service available, which is cluster IP. Let's go ahead and create kubectl apply. As I said, we can use either create or apply. I'm using apply now. -f load balancer.yaml. Okay, there is some error here. Unmarshal object service port. I have given something wrong here. Okay. Sorry. Let's run the command again. Service spec dot ports. Go ahead and click apply. Now our load balancer service has been created. Let's go ahead and get the services. Now if you see, we have a load balancer that gets created here. Okay, now what we do is copy the external IP of the service and go to Chrome, enter the IP here in Chrome. Now it's going to version. Welcome to Docker Nginx. This Docker Nginx, I have passed it in the pod tej psnl / my Nginx, my app. From here it's taken and it is running as the application. Now the application has been exposed to the internet. This is how we are creating a pod using YAML file and a load balancer service in Kubernetes using YAML file and expose an application. Thank you for watching, guys.